Right.
It's a good time for story time.
So this week on Storytime, we decided to forego our normal little crap stories of, well, bad food, bad purchases, bad cards, bad everything. So since the GP is tomorrow, we have limited experience playing in some of these GPs. My own personal experience, I've gone through the gambit of doing everything wrong for a GP and paid for it. Several of our friends have done horrific at GPs because they did not follow the list that we're about to put out for you. So if stay tuned, this is the list of tips so you will have a better Grand Prix experience. And you can use these for any big tournament, obviously, but I say specifically for Grand Prix. You want to take the first one?
Yeah, I'm going to take the first one. He hit it right on the head. Big tournaments. When you're going to a big tournament, the biggest thing, and what our number one is, I think we both agreed on this. He mentioned to me, "What do you think? What do you think we should do? Get sleep beforehand. You cannot function without proper sleep. It's just get a good night's sleep. Try to go to bed early. I know testing. You wanna drive. You wanna drive 18 hours to go to a Grand Prix. I mean, I've done it. I've gone to Columbus. I've gone to Ohio. I've gone to Florida. I've driven. I've been there. I've done that. Just please, God, get some sleep. You're gonna play so much better. You're gonna be sharper. Hopefully sharper than your opponent because they didn't get sleep. You just anything that you can do, any little thing that you can do to get an edge on your opponent, and I think sleep is by far the top.
Now, my take on this is when you're hard driving to GPs, it's not so bad when you can take turns, like you have somebody driving, and people sleep on the way there. That's fine. But we all have that carload of people, and depending on the size of your car, you try to cram that extra person in there so sleeping becomes a little less desirable because you're leaning against people.
And you're trying to save money.
But then you have the Antichrist in the car, the guy who will just make your 18 hours seem like 36. He will not shut up. Everything that's wrong. This car smells. There's something. There's something in the road. Slow down. Everything he can think of to make your driving experience absolute hell. So get sleep, especially if you're spending money. Like we live relatively close to this GP. That's why we're going to it. We don't travel for GPs. We just don't have the time,
Not as much anymore,
B, the
unfortunately.
resources, and we're commuting to this, so we don't have the price of a hotel room. So when you have the price of the GP, the price of a hotel room, the price of the cards you have to buy, why piss that away when you stay up till all hours of the night because your friends want to party, and then you go to GP with like 2 hours of sleep? You're sitting there half dead, and if you're trying to play a control deck,
And you're going to play 9 rounds at least.
yeah,
Every GP is going to be at least 9
unless you
rounds.
0-4 drop. I mean, that's
Well, then all that money.
yeah, you piss away all that value just because you don't want to get sleep. Or not that you don't want to get sleep, you don't get sleep. So that's our main number one topic that we say: get rest, be sharp, and this way you have your full faculties about you. All right, so now
This is one of my favorites.
I wrote this list, and Rockout definitely agrees with me on a lot of these. So number two, bring your own effing pen. Okay? There is nothing worse than when you're trying to mark your life total, you go to look for your pen, it's gone because the asshole next to you stole it so he could fill out his match slip because neither him nor his opponent had a damn pen to begin with. Okay, this comes to being prepared when you go to a GP, and we'll get to that further on in the list. But one of the main things that you cannot do in a Magic event is fill out a match slip without a pen. It is the essential thing that you need to fill out a match slip. Okay, I have a marker. Okay, it's passable, but you're not going to be using a marker to mark down your life total. We'll get to that. It's another topic that we're bringing up, but at least bring a half-functioning pen and throw it in your pocket, your bag, somewhere. I bring 2 pens, sometimes 3. Maybe that's a little excessive, but I like being prepared. But yeah, bring your own effing pen. Stop stealing them from people, okay? It's terrible, especially when somebody's going to mark the life total and you have limited time to begin with, and you're looking for their pen instead of playing their match because you freaking stole it.
Funny story, really quick.
Pissed me off.
Our shop owner, I'm testing on Monday night for this GP, okay? First time testing for this GP. I want to get as much testing as I can. The first time I sit down, I sit next to the shop owner. He grabs my pen and starts using it. I'm looking over, I'm like, where's my freaking pen? He gives it back to me. 5 minutes later, he signs his match slip and gets up and walks away, steals my pen. And I freak out. It's like, bring your own pen. All right, we beat that to death a little bit. So, number 3.
Not without merit, though.
Yes.
I mean, not
Definitely,
without
it's
merit.
very important. Bring your pen. Have a bag. Throw it in the bag. You'll never lose it. Get in the habit of grouping all your stuff together at the end of a match, including your pen.
And most of these come down to being prepared. This is an essential part of this list. Be prepared when you go to a big event, especially a GP. You don't want to be caught short.
GPs now are $70. I think sealeds are probably going to be $100 at some point. So just don't waste your money. Don't waste your time. The next is write your deck list the night before. I know there are those people out there, a la Shota, who won the PT this past weekend, the Pro Tour, who like to change their decks the night before. To be honest, if you're prepared, we just mentioned this about 1,000 times, if you write your deck list beforehand, you're going to sleep better. You're not going to be worried about anything. You can maybe catch another 5-10 minutes in the morning because you don't have to get there early. You don't have to write your deck list.
So when I was at the GP in Philly, I was rooming with a friend of mine, and some people like to share hotel rooms, and that's fine. But when you cram 6 people into a hotel room, it becomes counterproductive for what you're trying to do. I like my sleep. I didn't mind spending the extra money so I could have a quiet, sleeping spot to myself. And I grabbed the deck list from the event. And when I went back to the hotel room, we did some testing. We had several hotel rooms. We did some testing. I went back. I wrote on a piece of paper beforehand. I always had my deck list on a piece of paper. This way, going into it. Then I wrote it down on the after I scratched it out, and I'm like, well, maybe this sideboard card would be better for this weekend because I'm expecting a lot of this. So then I put it on the deck list. So if you write out the deck list the night before, you're like, well, what if I want to change something? Then change it the next morning. At least have that deck list there. So if you want to scratch something out, it's very, very easy. You just gotta rewrite the deck list if it's not too if it's too bad that they won't accept the deck list because it's too much scratched out. And this way you can just copy it down real fast. Nothing is worse than getting a game lost because you have a deck reg error. I've done it. It's terrible.
So many times.
I've done it once, and that's all I needed to never have a deck reg error again. And that would, it's just one of the experiences. You'll have it happen to you. Eventually, you'll learn from it, and you'll have it happen to you. Try to not have it happen though. When you get a game loss because of deck reg error, it's just awful.
Agreed. All right, on to number 4.
Oh, all right. So, all right. Now this, I brought this up because I am constantly running late to everything I ever go to. I'll be late to my own funeral, in case you're there. So give yourself time to get to the venue. We're commuting. It depends on traffic, road conditions, different things of that nature. I was going to, I want to say a SCG event with a friend, and it was pouring outside. I mean, absolutely pouring. So you could not go to speed limit on the highway. It was just sheets of rain. And I see this Mercedes Benz with its bumper sticking out of the woods, and nothing will derail your chances at a GP more than not getting there. So give yourself ample time to get to the event. I understand running late. I do it myself all the time. But if you have a hotel room, it's very, very easy. Just give yourself an extra, 5-10 minutes, whatever however fast you walk or run, if you're commuting, give yourself 20 extra minutes. This way, if you hit traffic, if whatever the case may be, you have a dead battery, flat tire, you'll have a little extra time and you can maybe do something about it so you won't get that round one game loss.
I like to give myself an extra hour. I like to get to the tournament center. I like to relax. I like to do other things like talk to my friends. And that's pretty much it. Give yourself time, because he just mentioned it. There are a lot of things that go wrong. Okay, so number 5 is check your supplies. As I was just holding up, this is my magic bag. It has everything. It has food. It has drink. It has my cards. It has extra sideboard cards. It has pens. Pretty sure there's a pencil in there. It has a playmat. It has life counters. It has dice. It has multiple decks for multiple formats. Please don't steal my stuff. I think there are protein bars in there. There's a phone charger.
But you.
There's a phone charger. Just check your supplies. There's nothing worse than going to a tournament when you think you have like multiple bars in your bag and you don't, and you have to eat some terrible pizza at a GP and say how terrible it is every time you take a bite.
That was your own fault.
I was hungry. What can I say?
God.
I had to win.
Oh, that was definitely your own fault. All right, so one thing that he didn't mention, he mentioned your life pad, your paper. Yeah, that's one thing. Bring your own effing pen, but also have a life pad. If you don't have a life pad, if you're gonna use dice, it's a bad idea. Somebody who has a life pad has authority over you.
Mm-hmm.
Write down every life exchange. I don't care if it's gain 4 life and then you're gaining another 4 life from another effect. Write them down separately, because that is your proof that the action actually happened. So that's one of the things. And also, you forgot one major thing. Bring extra sleeves. There's nothing worse than
do that.
Oh, come on. Especially if it's sleeves you have a ton of anyway. Bring extra sleeves in case you rip one. One splits. It happens all the time.
I've literally never ripped a sleeve in a tournament. Ever. Not once have I ever ripped a sleeve. Ever.
I had it
Not
happening
once.
because an asshole shuffled my deck
Oh.
rough and he ripped my sleeve right in half.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, I was pissed. I was like, well, I instantly called the judge. I said, we need a time extension. I need to get this out of my box. I need to swap. It was such a pain in the ass. It's like, when you shuffle people's decks, take care. These cards are worth money. You pay a lot between the cards, the sleeves, everything. Just take a little bit of care. I mean, this asshole literally ripped. Like, I'm sure one of the other sleeves was split too. I had to swap out in one of the later rounds, and I'm sure he did it. But
okay, so number 6.
All right, this is my favorite because I love to eat. Bring snacks. Snacks. If you have the hotel room, I have a lot of venues don't like when you bring in outside food, but they really can't say anything when you have like crackers, protein bars, granola bars, a bottle of water, and they can't say anything about that stuff.
As long as it's on your bag, in your bag, excuse me, not on your bag, in your bag.
Okay.
They won't check.
So I bring a mini cooler with me to the GPs. I want something cold to drink. It's right there. I don't have to go searching for a vendor. I don't have to stand in line for just a simple soda or a bottle of water and also pay $3 for. I mean, saves you a little bit of money. I mean, it's one of those little things that. But if you have a hotel room anyway, you have the fridge in there, or if you bring your own cooler, just have all this stuff in the hotel room, and this way you have all your snacks. Just something simple too, like a small bag of beef jerky if you like that. Crackers, Ritz crackers, just something to fill that void, especially if you're running round after round and you just don't have time to eat anything. Fill that void with small snacks so it keeps that grinding out of your stomach. It'll allow you to concentrate on the game a lot more.
I said it earlier, check your supplies, and then I also said snacks during that one, so that's 2 in a row. Just eat some food. I mean, honestly. It goes to the same thing with sleeping. You're just going to play better. You're going to play better. You're going to feel your body right.
Yeah, none.
I would suggest not having a whole lot of sugar because you don't want to crash mid-tournament, but if you really need it, there's nothing. I can't say no to like just eating a Twix bar all of a sudden.
Kit Kat. Reese's. I mean, yeah, when you have low blood sugar, you're gonna play worse Magic. I guarantee you. I mean,
You're just
that,
not going to think
yeah,
long turns.
and I'm not even talking about if you have some kind of health problems, diabetic or whatever. I'm talking just your plain everyday individual. When you have low blood sugar, you will not operate at full capacity. It is physically impossible.
So 7, we talked about it earlier. What have we been doing all week?
Playtesting.
Playtesting. So we mentioned GPs are $70. Star Cities I think are 50 plus. Just a standard tournament that I went to, I want to say a couple months ago, was 30 plus, 35, 40 maybe. If you're not playtesting for these tournaments, well, why are you gonna throw your money away? Why not just all that money that you could be throwing away on these tournaments when you're not playtesting could be used to buy more torrential Gearhulks when they're $4.99.
And that's the thing too. It's like, well, I want to run my jank deck. Well, that's fine. Run your jank deck, but test it against the decks in the format, so you have an understanding of what to do against the decks. Just oh, I'm going to run my Panharmonicon deck because I like the way it works. Well, if you have no idea how the interactions go, so I had somebody deck test the Panharmonicon. Wasn't my choice. He just grabbed a random deck and we deck tested. Absolutely shredded him. He had no chance. No chance with this deck. He even had gotten a Panharmonicon into play on turn 3, I think. Servant of the Conduit. That's the damn guy who mana ran.
2020.
Yeah. Now I remember it. But yeah. Even with that in play, he still had no chance because my hand was just full of controls that he just couldn't deal with. So test against the decks, even if you want to run your jank deck. This way you have a better idea going into it what to expect. This way you can tune your sideboard a little bit better. Maybe it's good against aggro, not good against control. Side some control aspects in.
Yeah, that's a huge thing he just touched on, is knowing how to sideboard is crucial, and that's how you learn through playtesting. You learn through playing your deck. You're gonna realize that you might have 8 dead cards against control. You gotta know through playtesting what comes out, what goes in, and what cards are actually good in the matchup. You can't just take one of these decks and be like, oh, I'm gonna board in Jace against the aggro deck because it bounces a dude. No, you actually have to test it. I mean, God, just don't be that guy. All right, number 8 on our list, and our last one.
Well, not our last one because there's a couple I didn't write on this list. I'm gonna use a small one before we get to the last one we have. Is especially when you're traveling from a distance and you're going to be staying in a hotel room, I know it's cumbersome to bring a lot of items with you, but mostly everybody has a bag or some other way of transporting their cards to keep them on them. Bring a small box of common and uncommon staples that you don't want to buy the day of the GP because you just don't have them. Bring your Reflector Mages. Bring your Wholesome Marasas. Bring the cards that you have tons of, but you don't want to freaking buy. I mean, Ration Cleric, when people were going nuts looking for this card to go against the red decks, I'm like, I had 8 extra in my box. I got so much trade value out of a crap common. I can't remember what I picked up, but I picked up some good stuff for a crap common because the vendors didn't have them, or the vendors were charging an outrageous price, and I just traded them away. I got like $1 a piece in trade value for them. I was open on, they were just sitting around my house. I'm just like, these things are worth $1? Only here, only at this exact moment. So make sure you bring those cards with you, because nothing's worse than having to pay $3 for Reflector Mage because you need it for the tournament and you have literally 12 at home. So,
that's value in my book right there. Buying more cards.
Oh God, not at inflated prices.
We've all done it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. These are just tips for a better GP experience, and that's one of them. Don't waste money on cards you already have. Another thing, talking about wasting the money. For people who like playing foil decks, there's nothing wrong with it as long as your deck is mostly foil, because then the rest of your cards will curve with the foils. It's when you have that one foil or 2 foils in your deck that the judge can cut right to and goes, you have a marked deck, you get a game loss. Now you have to replace the damn card to begin with, and it's a bad situation. So if you have a one-of foil card, just try to borrow it from a friend. Buy it if it's cheap enough. I understand some, like, if you have a foil planeswalker, you're like, well, it's the only one I have. Try to trade with a friend. Just be like, okay, let me borrow it for the weekend. Here, you have this one.
Your chair is like
Sorry.
rattling.
Sorry, I'm getting animated. So and I've had it happen. I was running because I like my foil lands that I have, and they said it was a marked deck. I'm like, really? And so ever since then, hearing people getting game losses, friends that have gotten game losses because of marked cards, foil cards, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm running my bare bones deck. I'll still run my nice lands that aren't foil and call it a day.
I have gotten I got a warning for running a Sensei's Divine Top foil that was from one of the commander sets, and as you guys probably know, it has a very strange foiling process to it. It makes it thicker than most other foils.
From the vaults?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was I'm sorry, from the vault, not
Yeah.
commander. And I was asked, basically the judge came up to me before the game even started, and he was like, what is going on with your deck? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, you got to have a foil on there of some kind. So I was like, okay, I have a bunch of foils in here because I run foil lands, I have foil Emrakul's, I have foil Brainstorms, a couple other things. Yeah, I know. Don't give me that, chat. Don't give me that.
What was the chat saying? Back.
Does foil give you better value? Of course it does. It makes you stronger. It makes you play better.
It blinds your opponent.
So what was I going to say? He comes over, checks my deck, cuts right to it. My opponent cuts right to it. I'm like, okay. So I had to pull a Sensei's Binding Top out of my EDH deck to make it worth it. Thankfully, just the warning was enough, and I have since tried to put multiple foils if I'm going to put any in there. Actually, this weekend I'm going to be running foil Prairie Streams, foil Port Town, a couple other random foils like Rattle Chains because Shiragi doesn't know how to have all non-foils or all foils. So don't get your game loss. I mean, let's just go down the list really quick.
So wait, before you do, there's a certain psychological advantage to having an all foil deck, and I was playing in the GP in Philly, and I was playing a similar ramp style deck. The guy across from me had all foil Ulogs.
Oh god.
Yeah, I'm just like, are you serious? I'm like, come on, right? And so I'm like, I was blinded a little bit. We went to game 3. He ended up winning. He got some better draws than me. But the one that really sticks out in my mind when I was at a Legacy event and the guy was playing Miracles, he's playing beta dual lands, and I'm just like, holy hell, dude! Like, this guy's deck is worth, I don't know, $12,000-$15,000, and that was at the time. I'm just like,
it's probably 30 now.
I'm like, and so I knew he was a control player. Knew he'd been playing forever because unless you have just substantial wealth, you're not buying these cards. And I'm just like, psychologically, it got right in here. Like,
it happens to a lot of us.
I was playing, what was it, Sultai Delver against Miracles, which was, I don't know how good that matchup is against each other, but it went bad for me. That's all I'm gonna say.
So running down the list really quick, get some sleep, bring a pen, write your deck list the night before, save yourself some time, give yourself extra time. So give yourself extra time by writing your deck list the night before. Check your supplies, which means bring snacks, bring dice, bring paper to write on, bring your phone charger. Can't tell you how many times my phone has died in the middle of a tournament. And you got 4 more rounds to go, and each round is like half an hour in between. What are you going to be doing? You want to play on your phone, bring the phone charger. Play test, foil check your deck, and what was the one that wasn't written down that you were talking about?
Bring your ample commons and uncommons that you don't want to buy again. So if you want to swap,
some extra cards.
Yeah, if you want to swap this, bring basically everything you think you're going to swap out, or if you're going to audible a deck and you just want to run the other deck, bring the stuff that is you have readily available, multiple copies of, so you don't have to get more copies and pay an exuberant price for it on top of it.
That's a good point. I really like to keep a lot of different sideboard cards in my binder. especially for when I go to legacy tournaments. I know certain people that show up at small events that are going to be playing a specific deck that's better than, better against me. I might have to tweak some sideboard cards. If Eld's is the big thing, I'll board in more Pyroclasms. If I know they're going to be playing control, I might board in like wipeaways. You just gotta be prepared. And it should be how to be prepared for a Magic tournament. That's what this should be called. But it's tips for a better GP from your boys. Rock out.
Big green.
Big green. So I think that's pretty much it, guys.
So, a little side note, I brought a 200 card box to the GP with me last time, and everybody who needed to borrow cards, I had Reflector Mages, the 2/4 guy that flashed and gave a guy Hexproof. It was in the Collected Company deck. I had tons of these commons and uncommons, and everybody who needed to borrow them, I instantly had them. I mean, just right there on hand. So it's a beautiful thing to do.
Okay, guys. Wish us luck at the GP. If you're there, feel free to try and find us.
Oh yeah,
I'll be wearing a GLG shirt. Gilt Leaf Games.
Gilt Leaf Games. We're going to be testing there. Well, he'll be testing there tonight. I might stop in briefly just to see what's going on. If you see us at the GP and you want to say hi, don't be afraid. Come up, say hi, and if I meet a stranger who I don't know and says, "I saw your video," I'll be shocked. I'll be genuinely shocked. I'm not gonna lie. I'll be amazed, and it would be great to hear anything you have to say about this.
Good or bad.
I
Good or bad.
would love to hear from you. I mean, come say hi. I may not look like the most approachable person, especially after a loss or if I'm hungry, but judge it for how it's going at the moment. And come say hi after the round is over.
I've been playing Tournament Magic for a long time, and I have met some of my best friends through Tournament Magic, and I might say, "Did we just become BFFs if you watch my video?" So feel free, come up, say hi, ask for a high five. I'll sign your shit if you really want me to. I mean, it's not gonna be worth anything if I sign it, but who knows?
I'll do the fist pump. I'm not a big handshake type of guy. I'll do the fist pump.
I will give you a hug,
Oh,
and I will rub my beard on you if you really want me to.
Oh, Jesus.
And that is Brainstorming Magic, Grand Prix Providence Edition, boys, Episode 4.
All right. Hope we see you there this weekend.
You have yourself a good weekend.